Hey there, so looking at your log, if you go into the custom graphs, so I don't know how familiar you are with Backbox, but so excuse me if this is old hat, but if you go into custom graphs, so you go into graph setups here, open your log. Now I'm using the Clean Flight black box viewer. I actually just posted a video on this group about where you can download that. So, and it recognizes, I guess you're on, yeah, you have to be on iNav, 1.8.0. So anyways, so it works with all three, Clean Flight, Beta Flight, or iNav. It seems like it's the most mature black box log viewer as of today. Anyways, you go hit Add Graph, you hit Add Custom, then you can go down and you can turn on Failsafe phase, RX signal received, and RX channel. You don't need the RX channel thing. So that gives you the state of your RX signal received. So it's receiving a decent signal, and then it drops out. Failsafe kicks in. So it kicked in here. Apparently recovered, or it hit the ground and then you took off again or something. I don't know what's going on there. That's odd. Dropped out here again. It looks like it's recording here. And then it had another failsafe state here and here. This one wasn't long enough, and then this one was, and it triggered a failsafe. So I don't know if you're recovering out of this failsafe phase one or whatnot. So the other thing that's odd in here is this motor 3. So if you look on here, motor 3, when you're giving it some juice, it is calling for motor 3. That's not what the motor 3 is actually doing. That's what the flight controller is asking for it to do. It is calling for motor 3 to spin up, and motor 3 is not giving it what it needs. And that's why you can see that dip. You can see that dipping in the right back corner. So something's weird there too. Yeah, it's doing it here as well. So something's up with motor 3. That's not spinning up like it's supposed to. So if it's a brand new flight controller, a couple questions. Did you obviously flashed it to iNav. Did you try to restore old settings from an old iNav file? I know I use iNav for my planes, and it's fairly complicated to set up the GPS and the magnometer and all this other jazz. So I could see it's enticing to do that. I wouldn't do that though. I would set it up manually. I would do a flash with erase all. I think when you do a flash at the top, it says like full board, full chip erase or something like that. Make sure that's checked. Flash it to iNav. Do not try to import settings from any previous anything. Just reset it up using screenshots or whatever from your old settings. Is there something wrong with motor 3 physically? I don't know what's going on there. I had motor stall issues with a motor as well, and I was able to fix it. It wasn't the same symptoms here, but I was able to fix it with BL Heli. Mine was I was doing a punch out and I would drop to 0 throttle. So my digital idle percentage was set at 10%, which is pretty high for D shot. And I was doing a forward roll, using like air mode or whatever to do a forward flip. When I'd go to throttle back up, my quad would do the spin of death. I was able to fix that, and it was somewhat of a similar symptom here. It would call for the motor to spin, but it wouldn't happen. Now you're not going from 0 throttle, so I don't think it's the same situation, but throw it out there anyways. I was able to, in BL Heli Configurator, drop my startup force, my start force, to down to 0.125 instead of 0.5, and doing that fixed my issue. So again, you're not coming from 0 idle, so I don't think that's the problem. I don't know what's going on there. That motor's just not producing the thrust, or if you're pushing the back corner down with your hand or something, then it would do that. I don't know. So that's one thing, and it's just losing video or receiver signal. So I would check the solder connections. If you have a spare receiver, put it on there. I would do a range test. One thing you could do is if you did try to import something, you could reflash iNav on it just to make sure it's all cleaned out. I did have an issue one time where I was flashing around a bunch of different versions of Clean Flight and took it out and doing some testing, and it flew really weird. I came back in and just erased all the settings. I didn't reflash it, but in the configurator dialog, you can erase all settings. I don't have it plugged in right now, but and that fixed it. So it was just a weird thing. So I don't know if you want to give that a shot, if that's easy enough. Again, check the receiver signal solder connections, make sure there's no loose wires. You should be able to do a range test if it's a hobby grade, I'm sure it is. Transmitter, there's usually range test modes in those. You can look at your documentation on that. And then, yeah, check out that motor. All right, well, think about a couple of those things, and I hope this look at your log helped out a little bit. It looks like there's 2 problems here actually, and confirms that, yeah, it's definitely, the reason it's dropping out of the sky is because it's going to the failsafe, and it's doing it a couple times here, and you can see it's actually losing the signal from the transmitter even more frequent than that, and some of them are just quick dropouts and then they come back, and some of them are more frequent. See ya.